Does it feel like your daily fasting routine, which once made you feel invincible, has suddenly started working against you, draining your energy instead of fueling it? You might be unintentionally signaling your body to shut down its fat-burning engine. But the fix isn't about willpower. It's about understanding a specific biological switch. If you have ever felt that flatness, where your energy dips, your strength fades, and the scale stops moving despite your best efforts, you are not alone. It is a biological reality that happens when we misunderstand how our metabolism adapts over time. The strategy that works for the first month often becomes the very thing that stalls you in the sixth month. Especially for those of us in our prime years, we need to shift our thinking from a mindset of constant restriction to one of strategic rhythm. You might be thinking, but I thought consistency was key. Doesn't my body need a strict, unchanging routine to see results? That is the most common misconception we face, and frankly, it is the primary reason so many of us hit that frustrating wall. The science we are about to unpack explains exactly why your engine might have stalled, and more importantly, how you can restart it. We are going to move through 5 specific levels of understanding today. We will start with the foundational basics that everyone needs to master, but I need you to stay with me until we reach our ultimate revelation number 1. It challenges almost everything we have been told about the daily grind of health routines, and it reveals a metabolic sweet spot that is particularly powerful for those of us over 60. It is the difference between merely surviving your diet and actually thriving on it. Just a quick, important reminder before we dive in. All the information shared today is for educational purposes. Everyone's health situation is unique. So please consult your doctor or healthcare provider before making any significant changes to your diet, exercise, or health regimen, especially if you have pre-existing conditions or are on medication. Let's use this knowledge to have informed discussions with them. Foundational insight number 5. The 12-hour baseline reset. Let's begin with the ground floor of our metabolic house, the 12-hour window. You have likely heard of this, but we often underestimate its specific biological role. This isn't strictly about weight loss just yet. This is about cellular hygiene and establishing a sustainable baseline. In our modern world, we rarely give our systems a break because we are constantly in a fed state. When we eat from the moment we wake up until right before bed, our bodies never get a chance to switch from storage mode to cleanup mode. For seniors, this continuous digestion can be exhausting for the system, drawing energy away from repair processes and keeping insulin levels chronically elevated, even if only slightly. However, when we engage in a simple 12-hour break, say finishing dinner at 7 p.m. and waiting until 7 a.m. to eat breakfast, we aren't necessarily burning massive amounts of fat, but we are allowing our metabolic rate to settle into a neutral, healthy rhythm. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition looked at fasting intervals and found that at the 12-hour mark, the metabolic rate barely changed. It remained neutral, which is actually a good thing for a baseline. It means you aren't stressing the body, but you are giving it a rest. To truly grasp how this works, think of your body as a busy office building. During the day, it is full of people, paperwork, and activity that represents digestion and processing energy. If people never leave the building, the cleaning crew can never come in to empty the trash or vacuum the floors. A 12-hour fast is simply locking the doors at 7 p.m. so the janitorial staff can do a basic sweep. It doesn't renovate the building, but it keeps it from becoming a chaotic mess. Consequently, consider this your non-negotiable baseline. It is safe, it is gentle, and it sets the stage for everything else. But if you want to actually rev the engine rather than just clean it, we need to go deeper into the mechanics of how your body handles energy. Critical warning number 4. The calorie restriction trap. This brings us to a significant pitfall that ensnares so many well-meaning people. We often see this manifest in strict, repetitive 16-to-8 fasting schedules where calories are chronically low day after day. The issue here is deceptive because it starts off feeling wonderful. You feel fantastic for the first few weeks, lighter, sharper, energized, but then, seemingly out of nowhere, you hit a wall. Your energy dips, you feel cold in the evenings, and the weight loss stops dead. This happens because the body is brilliant at survival. If you consistently undereat every single day for weeks on end, Your body doesn't realize you are dieting for health. It assumes a famine has arrived, and its primary directive becomes energy conservation. There is a fascinating study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition that illustrates this perfectly. Researchers found that when subjects went into a caloric deficit for 3 weeks, their resting metabolic rate tanked by 266 calories per day. Almost half of that drop was adaptive thermogenesis, the body voluntarily slowing down to survive. Imagine the thermostat in your home during a winter storm. If the fuel delivery stops coming regularly, which is essentially chronic calorie restriction, your smart home system will automatically lower the thermostat to 60 degrees to make the remaining fuel last longer. You survive, but the house is cold, the pipes might freeze, and everything runs. This is exactly why you might feel flat or lethargic. Thus, if your fasting routine turns into chronic calorie restriction without breaks, you unintentionally shut down the very system you are trying to speed up. We need a way to pulse the system, not starve it, which leads us to a crucial component of maintenance. Essential strategy number 3. The protein preservation protocol. If we are going to avoid that metabolic slowdown, we need a robust insurance policy. This is our essential strategy number 3. As we navigate our 60s and beyond, our margin for error with muscle mass shrinks, making this perhaps the most critical nutrient consideration. The challenge we face is sarcopenia, the natural loss of muscle tissue as we age. If we fast or diet without prioritizing the right building blocks, our bodies might turn to breaking down muscle for fuel. Losing muscle is the quickest way to permanently lower your metabolism because muscle is your metabolic engine. It is the tissue that burns calories even when you are sitting still. Here is where it gets tricky. You want to clean up the cells, a process called autophagy, but you also need to rebuild them. Fasting is a stressor that breaks things down. That is beneficial in the short term, but you must have a rebuilding phase. You cannot simply have a demolition crew. You need a construction crew, too. To understand this better, imagine you are renovating a classic car. You strip away the rust and old paint. That is the fasting part. However, if you never bring in new steel and fresh paint to rebuild it, you don't have a restored classic. You just have a pile of scrap metal. Protein is that fresh steel. Therefore, when you are in your eating window, you must prioritize high-quality protein. It is not optional. It is the signal to your body that it is safe to keep its muscle. This keeps your metabolic engine large and powerful, burning fuel even when you are resting. By keeping protein high, we protect our engine from the famine signal we discussed earlier. Key secret number 2. The glucose tolerance balance. This next secret is often overlooked, but it is vital for long-term health. We need to discuss what happens when we push the good thing of fasting a little too far. Too often, we often assume that if a short fast is good, a long fast must be better. And yes, long fasts burn fat effectively. However, a study in the Journal of Applied Physiology revealed something quite counterintuitive. They looked at subjects who fasted for 72 hours. While fat burning went up, their glucose tolerance, their ability to handle sugar and carbs, actually got worse temporarily. This occurs because the body is highly adaptive. If it runs purely on fat, 4 days on end, it downregulates the machinery needed to process carbohydrates. It gets rusty at handling sugar. For seniors, maintaining insulin sensitivity is paramount, and we don't want to inadvertently train our bodies to be intolerant of carbohydrates. Now, when it comes to this particular insight, it's especially important for us to approach it with awareness. If you have any issues with blood sugar regulation, please remember to start gently and listen to your body. As always, it's wise to discuss this with your doctor. Think of this like a hybrid car that has been running solely on its electric battery for a month. If you suddenly try to switch to the gas engine to climb a steep hill, the engine might sputter and stall because it hasn't been used. We want and need metabolic flexibility. We want to be able to burn fat, but also be able to handle a piece of birthday cake or a serving of fruit without our blood sugar spiking dangerously high. Consequently, we must be careful not to overdo the ultra-long fasts. We want to train the body to be a hybrid vehicle that switches seamlessly between fuels, not one that gets stuck in one mode. This brings us to the perfect solution. Ultimate revelation number 1, the 36-hour Metabolic Reset. And there you have it, our game-changing revelation number 1. We have explored the baseline, the traps of daily restriction, the need for protein, and the dangers of going too long. So, what is the sweet spot? The research points to a fascinating phenomenon that occurs specifically around the 36-hour mark, or sometimes interpreted as non-consecutive 24-hour fasts. This is where the magic happens for many people, provided they do it safely and infrequently. Unlike the 12-hour mark, which is neutral, or the weeks of restriction that slow you down, an acute, short-term fast of roughly 36 hours creates a massive spike in norepinephrine and adrenaline. Instead of slowing down, your metabolism actually speeds up. The body perceives this short burst not as a famine, but as a signal to hunt, to get active and alert. However, and this is the most critical aspect of the entire video, the key lies in the frequency. The magic is that it is an interval, not a lifestyle. It is a sprint, not a marathon. Imagine your metabolism is a campfire. If you smother it with logs every hour, constant eating, it smokes. If you stop putting wood on it forever, starvation, it dies out. But if you let it burn down to hot coals and then throw on a big dry log, the refeed after a 36-hour fast, the fire roars back to life hotter than before. T's approach, perhaps doing this once a week or even once every 2 weeks, allows you to get the benefits of deep fat burning and cellular cleanup without triggering the starvation mode. It keeps the body guessing, keeps the hormones optimized, and keeps the engine running hot. So, the secret isn't too fast, every day forever. It is to use fasting as a strategic tool, a pulse. Be consistent with your pattern, but vary the intensity. That is how you revive your metabolism after 60. So, we've covered a lot of ground today. From our first foundational insight of the 12-hour reset, building up through the critical protein protocol, all the way to our game-changing revelation number 1, the metabolic pulse. Each one is a stepping stone to a more vibrant, healthier you, moving away from the flat feeling and back into the vital feeling. Which of these insights? Perhaps it was the warning about the daily grind trap, or maybe the concept of the hybrid engine in secret. Number A, or even our ultimate revelation number 1 regarding the 36-hour sweet spot, resonated with you the most. Which one are you thinking of trying first? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share them in the comments below. If you found this journey through these health discoveries valuable, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps others find our community. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more powerful strategies tailored for our fantastic group of healthy seniors. Until next time, stay healthy, stay curious, and keep thriving.